We all speak fantastic English. At least we believe so. But when it comes to writing, there are so many rules that we have to follow. Sometimes these rules are very basic. I'm not talking about those advanced rules. I'm talking about the correct use of full stops and commas. Those are at least the most basic ones, aren't they? And if we do not know it, your WhatsApp messages, your emails can convey a completely different meaning or tonality. To do away with that problem, I have come with a new and a very interesting and a very important lesson. Hi everybody. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at 13 comma rules everyone should know. Every single person should know these most basic rules related to comma. Now, this lesson is not skippable. This lesson is incredibly important, especially if you're constantly writing messages, etc., and you do not want your message to be misunderstood. Wait here for the next 15-20 minutes because we're going to be discussing something very important. Without further ado, let's dive into this lesson. So here we go. What will you learn? You will learn, number one, the correct use of comma that there is in English sentences. After that, common mistakes that are made while using comma. We're also going to be looking at those common mistakes too. So, without further ado, let's begin. Here we go. The first rule. What's the first rule? Use comma before a coordinating conjunction. Now, what do we mean by coordinating conjunction? Do you know what is the meaning of coordinate? Coordinate means to work together, isn't it? Coordinate conjunction or coordinating conjunction basically means words that work together in order to join the sentence or join two different parts of a sentence. What do I mean by that? Let's have a look at this example. I went to the beach and I got a sunburn. I went to the beach is idea number one, correct? And I got a sunburn is idea number two. Now, can you speak this English like, can you speak or say this sentence like this? I went to the beach, I got a sunburn. I went to the beach, I got a sunburn. There's something that is missing. And what's missing is and, which is called the coordinating conjunction because it is helping coordinate part one of the sentence and part two of the sentence, connecting them better. When you use coordinating conjunctions in a sentence, you always add a comma before it. And that's why we say it's a coordinating conjunction comma. It's a very, very important rule of writing. Next time, you're talking about two different ideas in a sentence, and you're using coordinating conjunctions such as and. There are many others as well, and I will show you what all. Always use a comma, please. All right? So that's rule number one. So before the comma is independent clause, that means it's conveying one meaning in the sentence. After it is another independent clause, that means it's not dependent on any other part of the sentence. It's just meaning a whole separate meaning. And here is the coordinating conjunction. That's all. Are there any other coordinating conjunctions as well? Yes, there are. What are those? Here. But, for, or, so. Yes, they're all called different. They're all different kinds of coordinating conjunctions with different uses. And is used to connect two things. That's one of the uses of it. There are many other uses, but that's one of the uses of it. But is used to talk about the differentiation in part one and part two. So is used to talk about, for example, a result of something. Similarly, there are other coordinating conjunctions. With these, you always use a comma. All right? Let's move on. This was rule number one. Now let's look at rule number two. Rule number two is use comma after introductory words. What are introductory words? Words that give us an introduction to something, correct? So what is that? For example, finally, I went to the mall. The word finally here is considered an introductory word because it is giving an introduction to an event. What event? Final, the last event, what happened in the end. Introductory words are also called adverbs. They can be adverbs as well. They're not all adverbs, but they can be adverbs too. Finally, ly, ending in ly, one of the rules that we looked at previously on this course is words that often end in ly are adverbs. So this is rule number 2 with introductory words. Finally, it can be phrases as well. In the end, it's a phrase. Subsequently, eventually, all of these are called introductory words, and with them we always use a comma, especially when we are writing. So that's rule number 2. Another sentence is, however, comma, he made it to the finals. Now there are different meanings of the words finally and however. Finally is to show something that happened in the end. On the other hand, however is to show maybe the difference in an idea that was presented before and now it's a different idea. Yeah. So however is the introduction word to the juxtaposition that you're making with this sentence. What is juxtaposition? A different idea that you're presenting from the previous, maybe different idea. Another one is, on the other hand, we can look at. Now, on the other hand also is used, again, it's not an introduction word, but introductory words. So it can be a phrase as well. On the other hand is used to show what? It's got a different purpose than finally. Again, it is used in a similar pattern as however. So with that, we use a comma here, and a comma here. Okay? Another one is furthermore. If you want to add another point, that's another introductory word, which means that I'm going to add another idea to what I'm saying. You add a comma. Yeah, that's another introductory word. Basically gives you an idea into where the conversation is going, written conversation is going, or written information is going. Yeah. So in these introductory words, we always add a comma. Yes. Now, please have a look. This is rule number 3. Use a comma if a sentence begins with yes or no. That's very important. For example, let me show you what. This sentence, no, I didn't buy the phone, is basically divided in 2 parts. The first one is an exclamation, no. With that, we are trying to say that the person's expressing their answer in a yes or no, and then after that, they're elaborating. So whenever you answer like this no, especially in written format on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, emails, or all sorts of written conversations, you always add a comma after a yes or a no. Let's have a look at a few other examples. Yes, we attended the party. So after yes, we add a comma. So that was the next rule. Now we're going to be looking at rule number 4. What's rule number 4? Use commas to offset appositives. What is appositives? This is a very interesting word. Appositives. What are they? Appositives are basically sentences where there's a noun or a noun phrase. For example, Ridan, comma, who is a teacher of English or who is a linguist, comma. So Ridan is the noun, the name, comma, more information about this person, who is a linguist. So that is called an appositive. What is the meaning of offset appositive? That means to differentiate between them. For example, sunny cream, comma. So here it is a noun or a noun phrase, sunny cream. So we're going to be elaborating and giving more information about it. Okay. Sunny cream, the type of lotion I used for dry skin, didn't work very well. So the type of information, the type of lotion I use for dry skin is an extra information that I'm adding to the appositive or the noun phrase, which is sunny cream. So this entire sentence here is called an appositive sentence, or for that matter, offsetting an appositive. So where are we using comma? To separate the noun with the rest of the information that's coming after it. Not only that, once that information is over, to end it, I use a comma again, and then didn't work very well. This sentence can also be said like this: Sunny cream didn't work very well without any comma. But you add a comma, especially if there is an offset appositive, which means extra information added in that sentence. Okay? So this is a positive 1 and this is a positive 2, which means extra information about this noun phrase 1 and extra information 2. It didn't work very well is one piece of information. The type of lotion that I use for dry skin, another type of information. Yeah? Excellent. Let's move ahead. We're now going to be looking at rule number 5. Rule number 5 is use commas to separate items, okay? And this is one of the most basic rules that we looked at, especially during elementary upbringing, isn't it? But with this lesson, we are able to see that not just this, there are 12 other uses of commas that we need to put in our daily forms of writing. So what is it? What do I mean by that? Have a look. When I was in Dubai, I went shopping, on a desert safari, and visited Ferrari Park. So what did I do in Dubai? Number 1, went shopping. Number 2, on a desert safari. And number 3, visited Ferrari Park. So I'm talking about basically items or pieces of information or travel activities that I had in Dubai. So it's item 1, item 2, and item 3. So if I write it without it, when I was in Dubai, I went shopping on a desert safari and visited Ferrari Park. Does not make any sense. Because there are multiple items in it of the activities that I did, I have to separate it using a comma. That's very, very important. Super duper important. All right? So that is use and rule number 6 of a comma. Now let's move to the next one. Rule number 7. Use commas before or after quotes. Now what are quotes? For example, Mahatma Gandhi said, and then you quote Mahatma Gandhi in inverted commas. That's what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. Now let's have a look at an example. The reporter said, we kind of see these types of sentences, especially in newspapers, right? That's where it is from. The reporter said, comma. Then said what? The quote is coming between two commas. Before the quote, after the quote. Quote means what they really said in their words, the words that they used. The floods are intense, okay? And then the rest of the sentence. And she further quoted. So next time when you're saying something, especially in a format like this, especially if you're quoting somebody, what is the meaning of quoting someone? Means using their words exactly the way they said it. Before the quote, use a comma. After the quote, use a comma. All right? Excellent. Let's move on. So this is the quote. Here we go. This is rule number 8. Use comma between a city and a state. This is very important, and I see a lot of educated people not knowing this or just being completely oblivious about it. Let me show you what I mean. I stay in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Now, Mumbai is the name of a city here. On the other hand, Maharashtra is the name of the state that this city is in. So, Mumbai in Maharashtra is always separated by a comma. For example, I live in Delhi, India. I'm talking about a state now. You can do that with state and the country as well. Okay? So, Mumbai is a city, Maharashtra is a state. Always separate them using a comma. Can you write a sentence like this in the comment section below? What city do you live in and in what state? And separate it using a comma. Also, do not forget a full stop in the end. Okay? Let's move on. So this was rule number 8. Let's now move to the next rule, which is rule number 9. Use comma to separate negation in a sentence. What is negation in a sentence? It means a part of sentence that makes the sentence negative, isn't it? I repeat, that makes the sentence negative, that is negation. For example, have a look. I wore a white shirt, okay? Not a black. So not a black here is the negation that I'm saying. For example, you're my friend and you said, Radhan, you wore a red shirt in the party last night. And I say, no, I wore a white shirt, not a red one. So not a red one here comes, before that comes a comma, and after that comes a comma. So this is called negation in a sentence. When you're saying something which is the opposite of what you're just mentioning. I ate a cake, a piece of cake, not a burger. So not a burger, before that is a comma, after that is a comma, at Sasha's party last night. So, I ate a cake, not a burger, at Sasha's party last night. So, not a burger, before that is going to be a comma, after that is going to be a comma. Okay? This is called negation in a sentence. Let's now move to the 10th rule of the day. Negation is the blue part, which is not a black. Have a look. The 10th rule is a very important rule. Use a comma to separate elements in a full date. In this, Friday is a day of the week. August 15th is the date of the year. 1947 is the year. So, a complete date. Day of the week, date of the year, and the year are all separated by a comma. Day, comma, date, comma, 1947 year, comma, and then the rest of the sentence. So what do we understand? Use a comma to separate elements in a full date. Separate weekday, comma, month, comma, day, and the year. And that's how the format sort of goes as well. Okay, that's another piece of important information for us. Let's move on. This is rule number 11. Use a comma between two adjectives that modify the same noun. What do we mean? My angry is one adjective. It means a quality. It's a negative quality. Abusive is another negative quality. Who? Noun phrase or the noun boss. Angry, abusive, boss. So if you're adding two adjectives, between them, use a comma. Because can we count it as an item? It is an item of the qualities. So connecting it back to the same rule that we had initially discussed. So when you connect two adjectives, that modify means give more information about this noun, which is the boss, always separated using a comma. Okay? Excellent. So adjective 1 is angry, adjective 2 is abusive, and boss is the noun here. Let's move on. This is number 12. Use a comma for direct address. What is direct address? For example, I'm going to college, mom. Now, when you're adding the relationship, mom, dad, bro, sis, whatever, or the name of a person as well, when you're addressing somebody, before that person's name or relationship, always add a comma. Because it is a distinction between what you are saying, which is this part, and to whom, which is the next part. Dad, I'm having dinner. So what you're saying is, I'm having dinner. To whom? Your dad. So add a comma immediately after dad. So can you see, if it's in the end, you basically have to separate two parts. If it's in the end, the comma is with the first part. If what you're saying is in the end and the address is in the beginning, use the comma with the relationship or the name of the person. You can also say, Rahul, I'm having dinner. Rahul, comma. So the name of the person. And this is the last rule and a very important rule. Have a look. Use comma before every sequence of 3 numbers. This is very important. What do I mean by every sequence of 3 numbers? His starting salary is 100,000. Sequence of 3 numbers coming together, correct? Use a comma. And then 3 numbers. We don't add a comma in the end because the number stops here. Next one. The company is worth, the first one, it can be separated by a comma, three numbers, comma, three numbers, comma, three numbers in the end. How much is it? Let me know in the comment section below. So the whole idea is, when it's a combination of three numbers, always, I've seen some people doing this. This is wrong English. It's always 0, 0, 0, or it can be any number for that matter, comma. Okay? So these were 13 rules. What did you learn? You learned the correct use of comma in English sentences. And number 2, common mistakes people make while using a comma. Next time, when you're using English, make sure that you're not using all of these rules incorrectly and also are able to communicate your ideas correctly. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next lesson. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.